Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Real Money, Real Business podcast. I'm Lauren, and today we have Andrew on the show, who's selling a SaaS and e-commerce business on the Empire Flippers marketplace. Hey Andrew, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Hi Lauren, I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me.
Fantastic. It's awesome to have you here. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show. I'm really looking forward to learning more about you and your business. But before we dive in, let's go over a brief summary of it. This is a SaaS and e-commerce business created in May 2014 in the business and food and beverages niches. The average revenue for the business is $58,306 per month, and it makes an average of $21,794 per month in net profit. The assets included with this business are a primary domain, including all site content and files, an additional domain, employee contracts, supplier relationships, a Shopify account, Clover accounts, a Square account, an email list with 3,984 subscribers, software code, and a Zoho account. For everyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing number 59931 to learn more about this business. Or you can unlock this listing to start your due diligence if you're interested in purchasing this asset. So now that we know more about the business, let's hear from the seller. Andrew, can you fill us in on your background in starting and running online businesses?
Sure. I've been running online businesses for over 20 years at small and large companies, ones that are the largest on the internet, as well as my own startups. And so I have quite a bit of experience being head of product. I had started this particular business just after I had finished helping a company get their Series B round, and they were in the small business loyalty space. And I learned quite a bit about small businesses, and that really inspired me to start this business.
So Andrew, this business makes money. We've classified it as e-commerce as well as SaaS. Which business model has been the biggest earner for you?
Definitely, it is the SaaS subscription model. We make a little bit of money on devices that go with the business, so that's around 10% of the revenue. These devices support the software app that we sell, and the software app is sold largely by subscription. And so we have a collection of about 4 apps that work together, and there's one that is really the lead. It's about 70 or 80% of our revenue. Another is about 20%, and then it sort of trails down from there.
Okay, great. And do you have different subscription tiers, or is it all one level?
We do. For every one of my apps, we have varying subscription levels. We typically have a trial, which helps get merchants in to test the app. And then we have versions that'll start at $50 on up to $200. Usually the ones that are lower cost have some sort of limitation. So it can be the number of orders, it could be features and capabilities. And that really helps us to separate the market out from the merchants who are willing to pay more. We want to charge them more. And I believe there's much more experimentation we can do on pricing to get more revenue out of our merchants who really get a lot of value out of our software.
Fantastic. Well, I mean, it sounds like you've been on a great journey with this business. You certainly experienced a lot of success with it. What are the reasons that you're selling it now?
Well, there's a couple of reasons. I think first, all of us are involved in many different things, and I'm engaged in other endeavors which are taking so much more of my time that I'm not really giving this business my full attention and allowing it to meet its potential. The second is I think we're at the tail end of significant investments that we've made in the business, and it's grown significantly over the pandemic. And it's just really a good time for another owner to come in and rejuvenate and open it up to new markets. I believe there are new countries that we could approach, as well as new distribution channels that are really ripe for a new buyer to come in and help the business to get to the next level.
Yeah, certainly sounds like it. Looking back over your journey with this business, what would you say was your biggest win since starting the business?
I think one of my biggest wins has really been identifying talent around the world that can really help build this business. The need was fairly well established. We talked a bit about, finding that sales channel through the point of sale, which has been phenomenal. But once you start doing business with a merchant, you need to be able to provide great support. We found a great support team in Mexico, which has been very cost effective and high quality. And we have a great software team based out of Taiwan, which has been really innovative and delivering high performance, innovative software for many years. And those assets are almost as significant as the software itself.
Yeah, absolutely. That can definitely make or break a business for sure. On the flip side of the coin, what would you say was your biggest setback or challenge?
I do think the overall space that we operate in, as any software space, there you draw competitors, and we need to continuously innovate. We need to be listening to our merchants about understanding what they need and expanding from there. And so that is what I'm always staying on top of. And I wouldn't say we've continually grown year to year, but we aspire for much more. And we need to always be leading out and being ahead of where our competitors are going to be.
Following on from that, and I know you did touch on some of these points a bit earlier, but what would you see as the major opportunities for growth within this business?
So I think some of these come from macro trends. I think on the tail end of the pandemic, which really led a lot of customers to move online, and that's great. And now they're used to operating with small businesses in an online way. And with that, I think comes with a lot of opportunity. The other macro trend is labor is much more expensive. Our particular software allows merchants to receive online orders. You could also see the opportunity to do online orders right in the store. And that is a great opportunity that we can take, because today, when you go into any particular store, it's actually hard to find anyone to help you. So if you're wanting to check out, you're wanting to make an order, sometimes you'd rather actually just do it from a kiosk or do it from your own phone and go from there. And I think that is an incredible opportunity given the really high labor costs and, in fact, the scarcity that many of our merchants are running into.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a fantastic point. Speaking of merchants, how do you attract customers to your business? Where does your majority of your traffic come from?
Majority of our traffic comes from our point of sale relationships. So these point of sales are largely what merchants use to take payments, but they've really evolved from there. They've become full order management systems. When you walk into a restaurant or a retailer, you'll often see this computer or tablet on the desk or on the table there. And it allows them to track inventory and has many other functions. And so we're integrated with two of the largest point of sale vendors on the market that allows us access to hundreds of thousands of merchants. And so this has been a great vehicle, because what happens is it comes two ways. One is a merchant's looking for I need an online ordering solution. They go into the App Store and they find our app, which has the highest number of reviews and the best rated, and they decide to use it. The second way is they ask their sales rep who sold them the point of sale, could you recommend an ordering app for me? Because I think I need one. And due to our strong relationships with the sales channel for these point of sale companies, they recommend our app. So these are trusted referrals and they don't cost us anything.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a huge asset in itself. Do you do any marketing campaigns over and above that?
So we have experimented with marketing campaigns doing search advertising, and we've found that the cost of sales on that is fairly high, and the quality of customer that it brings in is not as high. And so we've actually turned that down. We do at times small amounts of marketing just to keep our name out there, but the vast majority is going to be from these referrals.
Yeah. What is your current customer acquisition cost?
Technically, our customer acquisition cost is zero due to these referrals. We don't pay for these referrals. They just come in. But I would say, the indirect cost for this customer acquisition is our great service. And if you look at our cost of service for each account, it's on the order of about $50 to $100 per customer. And this is the team in Mexico we had talked about. They staff the phones during business hours, and they provide hand-holding for the customers in a way that is quite differentiated from any of our competitors. And so if you call that customer acquisition cost, because you're offering great service, it's around $50 to $100 per customer.
Okay, great. Yeah, I like your view on that. So what would your lifetime value for a customer be?
So our overall lifetime value varies by the season, but it ranges from $800 to $1,200 per customer, and it varies based on the type of app that they initially start with.
Okay, fantastic. And do you know what your current customer churn rate is?
So we calculate this on a monthly basis, and it can vary between 3 to 5% per month. And we have sophisticated analytics that track this on a cohort basis. So we're tracking these every month to make sure we understand any trends in the business.
Fantastic. So you mentioned that there are various subscription tiers with your product. How do you go about upselling products, or do you provide bundles as well?
We provide both. Let me share a bit about how we approach this. Many of our apps are designed to work together. As an example, you have an order taking app, which can connect to an order tracking app. And so depending on how a merchant comes in and starts this, let's say they start with the order taking app first, which displays orders that are entered into a point of sale. So example, you have someone in the front of house, maybe a cashier who takes an order, wants to send it to someone who's actually fulfilling the order. They can start with that app. And we have increased functionality within the order taking app. But as you can imagine, there's a very easy cross-sell opportunity to say, well, would you like your customers to be able to order online by themselves? And we do that via emails, marketing interstitials, as well as phone calls. And we find that the phone calls, just to reach out and be helpful, to run their business, as well as recommend apps, is a very effective way to upsell and cross-sell.
Yeah, that's a fantastic strategy. Without giving too much away, what does a typical customer for this business look like?
We have two classes of customers, ones who are running single unit locations. They're an entrepreneur and they've started their business. And the other is what I call regional chains. They'll be 10 to 50 units large. And what we find is these are largely the two segments of our customers. They have different characteristics, and we're increasingly updating our software to really service these chains that can be quite profitable because they're always growing and their subscription revenue is very stable.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like this is quite a detailed software that covers quite a wide range of needs. What does your typical work week look like for you when running this type of business?
So about 9 months ago, I hired a general manager largely to take my place in running the business. And he works about 14 hours a week. This largely entails reviewing goals that have been set for the support team and for the technology team. We have two leads, one for the support team, one for the technology team. And so that takes about 14 hours a week of paying bills and managing the goals and progress of each of the sub-teams. My role as an owner at this point is to attend board meetings, which we have once a month. They're roughly 30 minutes to an hour each month. And I get weekly updates of how the business is going from a set of key indicators that we've established. So these would be numbers like our revenue, our retention, support team quality. And so the business, from my perspective, is largely automated, but it does take a general manager about 14 hours a week to run the business.
Fantastic. Yeah, I mean, it certainly sounds like you've streamlined it very well. So that's become a passive business for you. You mentioned that you do have some teams in place. Can you run us through those teams and what functions they serve?
Absolutely. Just like any other software company, we have multiple departments. One for software technology. We have 3 engineers who are writing the software. We have a quality assurance department, which is staffed by 1 engineer. So these 4 represent largely the team responsible for maintaining and enhancing the software over time. Then we have a support and operations team that has a team lead and 5 employees. A team of 5 led by 1 team leader.
Wonderful. It certainly sounds like you've got your thumb on the pulse of this business, that everything seems to be running quite smoothly. What would you say are the biggest challenges that a buyer might face when taking over this business?
I think the expansion opportunity would really be the most interesting challenge. The existing channels that we work with today, the points of sale that we work with, are largely established, and those will continue to operate as is. But to grow the business, you'll need to negotiate partnerships with new point of sale vendors. As well, you can look at going onto other international markets. Ones that we're looked at closely are Canada, Australia, and South America. And so each of those new markets would require someone with a bit more business expertise to negotiate contracts and assess the scope of the market and really enter that market successfully.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, you've got 20 years of experience under your belt. How much support are you willing to offer buyers to help ease the transition of the sale?
Oh, I'm very personally invested in ensuring a successful transition. I've worked with these teams for the better part of about almost 8 years now. And so very much would like to see them land successfully. I understand the model would be to provide ongoing support and consulting with the transition that would be more supportive up front and slowly trail off over time. So we would certainly be open to negotiating whatever's necessary for the buyer to successfully transition.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I think buyers will be very grateful to hear that. When it comes time to actually negotiate the sale, would you be open to something like an earn-out agreement?
Yes, I think we would look at an earn-out agreement really to help instill confidence in the business as well as to ensure a successful transition. So yes, we would look at something like that.
Okay, great. And would you commit to a non-compete agreement?
Yes, I would commit to a non-compete agreement.
Fantastic. Well, Andrew, do you have any advice for any aspiring entrepreneurs who are listening? Do you have any advice that you would give them that you wish you knew when you first started this business?
I think my main piece of advice here is to have confidence in your ability to run a business if you truly care about your customers and your ability to lead a team. Many of the ways that we've grown this business is by taking the time to listen to our customers and understand and empathize with the challenges they have. I gave you an example from the beginning of the pandemic when we listened to our customers who had made requests around like curbside pickup, and they really wanted the ability to coordinate curbside pickup. It was a completely radical concept, but we really invested into a new enhancement to enable that, and that really grew our business at the early part of the pandemic. And so as you look at buying this business or any other business, I think that is key, is really setting aside time to sit down with your customers and listen deeply, because they'll give you these insights that will really help them and ultimately help you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's vital, especially in the beginning stages of a business. Andrew, that leads us to the final question of this interview, and probably the most important one, which is, if you had to put yourself into the shoes of a buyer, why do you think your business is a business worth buying?
I think businesses that are on the cusp of capitalizing on a major macro trend are really interesting and worth buying. As I mentioned before, we are on the cusp of like 10 years of really difficult labor markets. And to the extent that we can streamline services for merchant to be able to run in a much more lean way and provide better customer service, I think you have a huge winner on your hands. If I make an analogy to the airport market, I don't think there's many of us that actually talk to an airport gate agent anymore. And I think in the retail space, it's unfortunate that this will happen to us, but I see that very much as a distinct possibility. And this business will be right at the front of capitalizing on this trend and making our retail experience much more pleasant.
Yep, that's a great insight and quite an exciting place for this business to be in. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with our listeners that I might have missed?
No, I think this is about it. I'm very excited about where this business can go. And part of my rationale for wanting to hand it off to the next owner now is really the opportunity and potential that I see in it. And so I wish everyone well in looking this over and invite you to come and speak with me about it.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Andrew, for coming on and giving us a little bit more insight into you and your business. It's certainly been a fascinating conversation, an absolute pleasure, and I appreciate you taking the time out of your day.
Thank you, Lauren. Have a great day.
Thank you very much. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing number 59931. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. Once you've unlocked this listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.